today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make this case dress. And so the first thing you're going to do is to cut out the fabric you'll be needing. So as you can see, I've cut out two pieces here. One is my front bodice, one is my back bodice, and both are folded into two. How I got the width, so the smaller one is my front bodice, the wider one is my back bodice. How I got the measurement is just by dividing the chest measurements by 4, and then you can add like 1.5 extra to it. So half an inch will be the 0.5 is going to be like ease, because you never want a child's dress too tight, so you might add like half an inch of ease and then 1 inch of your seam allowance. So that's basically what I have here. And then the back one has like extra 1.5 for my zip allowance, or extra 1 inch for my zip allowance. So that's basically how I got the width. So the first thing, we're going to go ahead and start putting in the measurement. You're going to also measure their half length, which is the shoulder to their waist, and then you're going to add 1 inch to it. So the shoulder to waist I'm working with is 10. I added 1 inch to it, so that's why I have 11 here. So you're going to go ahead and start putting in the measurement. The shoulder measurement I'm working with is 10. Divided by 2 is going to be 5. Go down here, place that in, and then put in the armhole. The armhole I'm working with is like 13. Divided by 2 is going to be about 6.5. Mark that in, and then I'm going to connect it up here. I'm going to come down here by about 0.5, and then go to the neckline, put in what I want to use for the neckline. So for the neckline here, since this is a 5-year-old girl, I'm going to be using a slim 5-year-old girl. I'm going to be using about, let's say, like 2.2 for the neckline. It doesn't matter what you use for the neckline, because before you go to put in that ruffle, you have to measure her neckline just to be sure that it's okay to fit. But for now, I'm just going to use 2.2 by 2.2. You know, normally in adult, you use like 3 inches of width and 3 inches of length. But for now, I'm just going to leave this like this, and then come down here by about 1 inch for the back neckline. This is it here. I've connected that half an inch I came down by is just for my shoulder slope. And then the next thing you're going to do is to measure the waist and divide it by 4, and then add extra 2 inches or 2.5 to it. 1 inch of your darting, 1 inch of seam allowance, and then extra half an inch of ease. So that's basically how you're going to do it. So I'm going to go ahead. So mine is exactly the same as the bust measurement. So this line is going to remain straight like this. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this whole thing out. So guys, this is it here. I've cut out my back neckline and my front neckline, cut out the armhole. So to put in your dart, you're going to measure their nape, put the nape. So for me, that's about 6. I'm going to put that in here. 6 divided by 2 is going to be 3. So I'm going to mark 3 on this line here. And then my dart is going to extend from this point to about, my dart is going to be about 3 inches. That's 1 inch before the bust, before the breast. So that's going to be somewhere here. Just 3 inches of length is what my dart will be, somewhere here. So I'm going to mark like about half an inch, and then that's it. So this is going to be my dart. I'm going to transfer this dart all the way to, even to the back, but the one at the back is going to go all the way up, just like how you do for an adult, but this time you're just making everything smaller. So my dart at the back is still on that same line, but it's going to go all the way up to somewhere here. So that's where my dart on the back will be. So join the shoulder, and I'll also put in my dart. So let's cut the sleeve. So guys, this is going to be a puffy sleeve, and it's going to have a elastic at the end. So this is what I'm going to be using for mine. I don't want mine that long, but if you want yours longer, then you can make it longer. Just cut out the length you will need for this sleeve and add about extra 3 inches for the puffy part at the top, and then also add like extra 2 inches for making the elastic casing at the end. So that's like 5 inches extra to whatever you measure to be the length of the sleeve you want to use for the child. So that's what you're going to do. So for me, I'm going to be using this here. So I'm going to come down first about 2.5 from the top part. If you already saw my video on how to make a puffy sleeve, you understand this better. So this part here is going to be for my puffy part, and then I'm also going to come down again by about 2.5 or almost 3 inches here, and then I'm going to put in their sleeve. So this part here is just for my puffy part, the puffy sleeve part. This here is the main sleeve. So I'm going to go down here, measure from this angle to this angle, find halfway through this here, which is going to be about 7 is what I have here. So half of 7 is 2, is 3.5 somewhere here, and then you're going to give it a curve. Just put in your normal sleeve here, a curve up, a curve down, and then this is the sleeve. If you're cutting just a normal sleeve, you cut it here, but since I'm making it puffy, I'm going to release that half, that about 2.5 that I came down by, and then halfway through, which is where I marked that 3.5, you're going to just go up here and connect it down. So this is how a puffy sleeve is made. I already made a tutorial on how to cut a puffy sleeve, so this is where you're going to just go ahead. So all these things, you cut it out. So this is basically my puffy sleeve. So all I have to do now is to go ahead and join this puffy part together this way, and then you see this is what I have already, and then fold the end for my elastic. So you see now all you have to do is just to join this way to your sleeve, and then you're going to fold this end like this and make your casing for your elastic. Like fold it once, make your casing for your elastic. If you want a longer sleeve, it should be longer, but mine, I'm not going for a long sleeve. This is okay for me. I don't want it that long. So I'm going to go ahead and join this to the dress. So guys, the width I used here is just basically, I just measured round the armhole, right, and I got 7 round the armhole this way. Coming down after that, after half an inch of joining the shoulder, then the remaining what I have here is 7. So that's why I use 7 for my width here. So that's how I got the width I'm using. So guys, I've gone ahead and joined one. I'm still going to go ahead and put my elastic here. You see, I made a casing for it. So how you join this is just like after joining the shoulder, you're going to open up your sleeve. You place it this way. You see, I notched my sleeve at the top part here just to know halfway through here I notched it. So you're going to place that part here at the center where the shoulder of the front and the back meets each other. So you're going to place it here, and then you're going to go ahead and put this way, and then sew all the way coming down here. But when you come up here, you distribute the flare, the excess fabric at this top part here, and then you also go ahead and pin this part down, and then like push this to the end. So you basically sew all the way coming up here, and then sew all the way coming up here. The rest of the excess fabric that you have here, you just plait it in between at the top part of the shoulder. So that's how you do it. So guys, you see the neckline is the next thing I want to show you guys. So you see my sleeve is done. This is what it looks like if I pop it off. So this is what you can, like I said before, you can always extend your sleeve longer, but I don't want to do that. And so I still have to pass my elastic here. So for the neckline, what you have to do is to go and measure the child's neckline, measure around their neck, and make sure that you can like make it loose, don't make it too tight, and then you come back here and measure around the neckline that you have here. But remember, you still have about 1.5 of your zip allowance, so fold that away and then measure around what you have left and make sure that it fits the neck. If it fits at this point, you can go ahead and cut out what you need. But if it doesn't fit at this point, then you can go ahead and chip off a little bit around the neck just to open it up more. Like you can go ahead and chip off a little bit and open it up a little bit more. So now I'm going to cut out what I'll need for the neckline. So guys, what you're going to do is you're going to cut out what you use for the neckline. So for me, I've cut out, you're going to cut out, measure around the neck of this here, and then you're going to times it by 2. So you're going to use 2 times of that. So you see, for me, the width I'm using here is about 3.5. So I'm going to go ahead and fold it into 2 here. So for what I'm going to be using for the band, I'm going to start from the neckline, open it up this way, and then I'm going to start sewing. So you see, fold it into 2. You see the 3.5, fold it into 2. The length here is going to be your neckline times 2, round the neck times 2, and remember to add in the zip this time around. So, and then you're going to go ahead and start sewing. So you're going to keep sewing and folding it this way as you're sewing. So that's how I'm going to do all the way around. So guys, basically what I did is after folding the fabric, you just go ahead the way it is now. You just go ahead, start from one end, and then you keep folding as you're sewing. Like this is how the fabric is folded, right? You just keep folding it. You fold as you're sewing, you fold. So you can see how I folded mine. And then this is just the neckline. Open it up wide this way, and then you keep pleating in a straight line. When you're done, you're going to notch it a little bit, and then you take it up this way, and then fold in all your seam in, and then you top stitch it on top of it. this way, top stitch it, so that once if you don't top stitch it, it will not stand. But once you flip it in after notching it, and then you fold it down this way, right, and then you top stitch it all the way, then the collar will be able to stand straight. So that's basically how you get it to stand. And then after that, we are going to cut the bottom. So guys, if you want the bottom, you can cut it as a circle. If you want, you can cut it as a gathered part. So I'm going to be using gather, but basically to cut circle is still the same thing. I'll also link a video on how to cut a circle bottom. So you just have to fold your fabric into two. So as you can see, my fabric is folded into two already, and then you fold it into four this way. And then all you have to do is their waist measurement, you're going to divide it by 6.28. And then you're going to, whatever you get, you take the tape. Let's say you get 4 after dividing their waist measurement by 6.28. You take your tape and measure it all the way around 4, 4, 4, like this way. And then you're going to get the waist, the length of the, so you're going to subtract, let's say the top part of their dress, right? And then you're going to subtract it from the girder. You're going to subtract their shoulder to their waist from the full length. And that way you get the length of the skirt part. So if you get the length of the skirt part, you're going to, let's say you get 20 for that length of the skirt part, and then you're going to add extra this 4 inches to it so that you don't make a mistake. And then you're going to take your tape and then you're going to just mark it this way. So that 20 inches that you got, remember to add your seam allowance to it, right? And then you're going to place it. Make sure that the distance from, because this part here is going to be the waist, make sure that the distance from this part to the end contains the length of the skirt you're working with plus your seam allowance. And then you're going to just take your tape and measure it and just mark it round, just like how you mark this. After that, you cut out the waist and then cut out the bottom, then you have your skirt. So, but for me, I'm not using this method. I'm also going to link in a detailed tutorial on how to cut this circle, and then, but I'm going to be using gather for mine. So I'm just going to cut out a rectangular fabric and then gather it at the bottom of my dress. Basically, you see, I've passed the elastic at the curve of the sleeve. So this is it. This is the neckline. You see, I top stitched it all the way around, and then I've gone ahead and joined the bottom gather. So I'm using gather for mine, and this is the back. So when you make the back, I don't have a zip at the moment, so but I'll go back and put in my zip later. But your zip is supposed to go all the way up to this top part here. So you see, I still have room for my zip. So your zip is supposed to go all the way to this part, and then after that you go ahead and make your band. So this is the band that I'm going to be using, like the tie for the waist. So you see, I also went ahead and made a tie for the waist. So that's basically it here. This is for a 5 years old. You can alter the measurements and make it for a smaller or a bigger child, even an adult. It's still the same method, just bigger measurements. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Bye.